I thought I was gonna wait and do this thing, but to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell the truth, and this is gonna be a part two of what I said about Whitney Houston. Let's just debunk a few things, shall we? Let's debunk a few things. Let's just do that because the truth is in the proof is in the pudding, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to sugarcoat stuff. Let's be honest. Bobby Brown has 2 kids now that are deceased. He's probably of a total of more than probably 10 children. But here's the issue. They're all by different women. That's not our business. The problem is that we're going to just sit here and pretend that Nick is the only one that Whitney and Bobby, Christina, maybe so. He said he was around them the longest, maybe so. But guess who else was around them the longest? The family. Within a course of time, it hadn't even been 3 months since she passed for Pat to start doing a Houston's on Our Own situation. You don't believe me? Look it up. Everybody wants to talk about Nick. Pat has not only sold her Whitney's personal belongings, like her debit card, her driver's license, her Arista Grammy and album where it looks like it's the record thingy. Not only that, she talks about being the Fab Five, one of Whitney's closest friends. If you look on this media, you can clearly see she did not like her. Even when it came down to the 2011, when they were doing a tribute to her, and it was Kim Burrell that was singing, best believe that you saw Pat, but she was not sitting nowhere near her. I find it interesting how she goes on Sister Circle and says that, oh, I was a part of this Fab Five, but does a Fab Five member, if you're so close to Whitney Houston, gets caught by your own daughter, overhearing an adult conversation where you're bashing them? How come Bobby Christina didn't even have control over her estate? It even said it in the text messages of one video. There are so many videos about this woman, it's ridiculous. You don't believe me? I'm gonna make a part 3, but I'm gonna really just shed some light. Literally, if I claim to be a so-called family member, don't you think it's interesting how even with Leola, she keeps talking about how, or in the past kept talking about how Bobby Christina wasn't safe. She, for the longest in 2017, had an interview talking about how they basically starved her to death. She was in hospice and this and that and the third. They didn't want to make her alive or keep her living because she wouldn't be able to sing and dance. She wanted to dance and act. There was a big difference. Yes, Nick Gordon was around them. Yes, Nick Gordon was everywhere. Yes, he was the supplier, but guess what? So was the family. If you can sit there and have Whitney Houston look stupid on being Bobby Brown in 2005, what do you think Chrissy went through on the Houstons on Her Own? They did everything to make money off of that girl. It didn't make sense. And then you wonder why people are getting mad. And she got mad at her grandmother within reason. Wouldn't you be upset if your grandmother is trying to write a tell-all story about what's going on in y'all's life, and she's haven't heard from you in weeks, and saying that she's being stubborn just like her mom? I'd be stubborn too if every time I turn around, everything I do has to be monitored. Or let's even talk about her mentor, who probably allegedly slept with her. You know how it was back in the day. People were not just, oh, that's my artist, I'm gonna keep it professional. I guarantee you, let something fall, I guarantee you it's gonna come out. Why do you think they got rid of her so quick? Because if Nick was the quote-unquote killer like everybody claims, how come he wasn't put to jail sooner? How come everybody waited until weeks, months later? They could have done it. They were trying to cover their tracks. Anybody that does that stuff is afraid that they're going to get caught, afraid that somebody's going to find out. Why do you think Robin Crawford said what she said. She didn't love Whitney, because if she loved Whitney, she would have kept her mouth shut and kept things quiet. But because they did all these documentaries, that's the reason why Bobby Brown said something, because they did all these stupid documentaries about what they thought happened to Bobby Christina. It started with Lifetime, where they had Demetra basically play Whitney Houston and some other girl played Bobby Christina. He was outraged and said something about that because it wasn't accurate, and to the point where they had him looking stupid, talking about he cheated on Whitney Houston with Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson had to write a statement and say that wasn't true, because that's what they did. That's what they put in the video. They even put that in the New Edition. And then gonna sit there, the New Edition movie, they're gonna sit there and try to make all these bad, landish decisions, talk about her business, talk about how she was raped, basically talk about how she was spending too much money, talking about how she sometimes had to lip sync and stuff. I don't never seen a time where she ever lip synced. Then you got people just doing the most. She basically was sacrificed, folks. It's no lie. It's no freaking lie. There is evidence out there. All the evidence out there to see. All you have to do is look on her name. Look at the stuff. Look at the videos that's already been made at her. You can look at Chronicle Speaks. You can look at Nyla Says. You can even look at freaking all of these places. Every last one of them. Checkers. It's not checkers, it's chess. You know what I'm saying? All of these people have had allegations about what happened to the mother and daughter, and everybody's trying to pretend like none of this stuff happened. You cannot clean up something that fast. If I love my sister-in-law, like I say I love my sister-in-law, why would I sit there and talk about the fact that she was allegedly parent in the 80s? Why would I tell anybody that the possibility of the boy that she was carrying in her arms happened to be her daughter, that really wasn't her fault for being pregnant by a family member, or that Bobby Christina and them were raped or something like that, or the fact that all these horrible things happened to her. There is a video where they rewound Cissy Houston's music, where she was singing a song, and you can clearly hear her talking about help. Somebody help. I'll show a part 3 of this, but it's just ridiculous how everybody's trying to make it seem like this 30-year-old killed himself, or killed people and killed himself. Why would he wait until last year to kill himself? Because they didn't want them to know the real truth. That's why. Because they know that they could be sued. You're not supposed to stop CPR until the paramedics say, okay, I have it. That's when you stop. But instead they did the opposite. That's what they did. And thought nobody was going to say anything about it. I mean, for real? Are we really about to sit there and talk about this? For real? I mean, if we're really going to talk about it, we're going to be honest about it. We're not about to sit here and pretend like, oh, woe is me and this and that and the third, and nobody wants to be honest about these things. Nobody. 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 Nobody wants to be honest. Huh? Is that what you're telling me? That nobody wants to be honest? That nobody wants to sit here and be honest about the fact that he's really gonna sit there and believe that just a boyfriend killed her? I don't believe that. I would never believe that, because if a boyfriend killed her, why did they wait forever to arrest him? Wait for part 3 on another episode of SMS News Channel.